Welcome, everybody, to Cross the Line. Why am I laughing? It's not going to be that funny if I describe it to you. We just had a funny moment.
You had to be
here.
there.
It's always great to be coming from Studio 1873, right next door to my office. This week, we have the Sedgh in Sedgh and Zuckerman. Shar, don't call me Shar Sedgh. He says, I can't say Shar Sedgh fast. You try it at home, see if you could say it.
I can barely say it.
And you expect the rest of us to. That's the problem. But that is our resident attorney, who, again, decides to book a flight the day before we film and almost didn't make it. Last time he didn't make it, and is at his birthday ruined, but had a good day with his child. That's important.
That's right. I was on the runway last night from 6 to 9:30, then a 3.5-hour flight back.
And you were texting me during this time, like I need to see this.
But I figured if life had turned out the way I thought, and I was a professional athlete and point guard for the Knicks, just because my charter gets delayed, I'd still have to show up to play the next day. So I figured...
That's right, and that's how we take it here.
Yes.
We take it very seriously across
Studio
Ray is here. Ray's ready to go. Lena's here, I think. It's kind of dark in the back over there, actually. It's like, that's right. Of course it is. She's keeping a low profile. We've made enough engagement and bride-to-be jokes. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find other ones.
We said an over-under 1.5 times how many times you mention it. So,
well, we used to bet how late Scott Nadler would be, like what time Scott would show up. And of course, Scott is not here because he's off doing some Nadler thing. Lone Daddy's being Lone Daddy.
I am not Scott. My voice is not Scott.
Yes,
for those listening.
and that brings us to Morgan Wilkins, who we're glad to have back on the show.
Thank you.
She loves coming here and working even closer with her boss. Isn't that true?
That is very true. All accurate, 100%.
Funny, Lisa didn't say that last week when I had her on. But
she's worked with you for too long. She's known you for too long.
20 some odd years would be making numb to me. Just ask my wife. She can explain that. You just don't hear him anymore.
How long have you been here for?
I don't know. You mean the company? 22.
22.
This, by the way, this is our 75th episode.
Wow.
So, Lena, you're in charge of these things. What do I get for a 75th episode? Is there a special anniversary kind of gift for that?
A round of applause.
All right, let me hear it. You're not even clapping, Lena.
Coffee in my hand.
Okay, we don't want any workplace injuries.
How many episodes has she sat through?
All of them.
All of them?
Maybe one or two. Maybe there's one or two. She wasn't.
You missed a couple.
Ray, you've been at all of them?
Ray's been on.
So what did he get you?
Wow.
This is why you need a lawyer to help you. You're turning it around on him.
No, come on. See, economists aren't this greedy that you're aware of. All right, so before we tackle the big news of last week, we're going to do the lazy thing and take a break. But please come back. It'll be worth it.
Your dream home is closer than you think. I'm Scott Nadler, VP of Mortgage Lending at CrossCountry Mortgage, and I'm here to get you the perfect loan to match your perfect home. From first-time home buyers to seasoned homeowners, I've helped clients make their moves with confidence. Ready for a smooth, stress-free home buying experience? Let's get you moving today. Call me and let's turn those dreams into keys.
Sedgh & Zuckerman is a boutique residential law firm guiding you and your clients every step of the way with a solution-oriented approach. Make sure to work with a deal maker and not a deal breaker. Contact us today at sznylaw.com.
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business, and it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.
We are back. So last week was all about inflation, CPI, PPI, the PI brothers, as I call them. I haven't been using that term enough. I should have trademarked it. Somebody probably beat me to it at this point. It's interesting because, like any other indicators, they don't go in the same direction. You know, consumer price index comes out first typically. And that's based on what we buy, like, you know, the final purchases of goods and services. Producer prices are done at the producer level, so it's one step ahead of that, so to speak. But that data comes out afterwards, so go figure. So CPI was good. The annual increase was less than expected. And you go, okay, That's
now what?
That's good. Let's spike the football, maybe no. But the core number, which strips out housing, not housing, food and energy prices, and is dominated by housing, was in line with forecast, but above 3% again, and that concerns people. The headline number continues to be driven down certain months because of declines in energy prices. Now, do you drive that much, Shar, that you notice that?
So I drive less than I used to, but for a big chunk of my career, I was driving to closings. And yes, I was very sensitive to costs.
And now when it's cheaper, you're not driving as much. So your timing needs work. All right?
I got to work around the real estate market's got to work around energy prices. Who knew?
Well, just talk to people about their Con Ed bills that live in Manhattan or the 5 boroughs, and they'll tell you they're not very happy with that. Yeah. So other things about the CPI report, housing is still the main driver of the monthly increases. And you say, well, I thought housing's sort of flattening out a bit. The problem is these surveys are done in 6-month increments by the BLS. Yes, that BLS that we were talking about the last couple of weeks. They also put out the jobs numbers that are under such scrutiny. So if I check in with Morgan and say, what are you paying in rent? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to check in with her for 6 months. So a lot could happen then.
Yeah, definitely.
You could move.
You could move.
Okay.
In New York multiple times.
Yes, I've heard people do that.
They do.
The year-over-year increases seem a little high. Like, aren't we shooting for 2%? But some of that has to do with weak numbers a year ago. Inflation had a weak couple of months in June, July, and August last year. So expect the annual increase for August probably to be a little elevated too. And then, every headline or a lot of the headlines say tariffs are raising prices by this much, that much. And
not true.
Well, look, we can say that you put a tariff on a mug, there's a chance that price is going to go up. Bobbleheads, iPads, shirts, okay. But that does not mean everything goes up.
Right.
And that's due to a simple fact that the money supply hasn't changed. Greg only has so much money to spend on guitars. Morgan, it's clothes, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. That's because she told me. I didn't make that assumption based on anything.
I did.
Shar, I don't know what he's meant to spend. Shampoo and haircuts.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Come on, he's a lawyer. We got to make fun of him. But we got to remember he's a sponsor too, so let's not go too far. But if I only have the same amount of money to spend, I can't pay higher prices for everything. Mm-hmm. And retailers know this. And even manufacturers, when they build a table, they may absorb, and they're going to sell it. You can absorb some of the tariff yourself or all of it. Mm-hmm. And that's something companies have to decide. That's why you're hearing from a lot of even retailers that, look, we haven't really raised prices yet, but get ready for it. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen to a certain degree. But the idea that we're going to see what we saw during the pandemic is ridiculous. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Inflation is too much money chasing not enough goods. Supply is not a problem, hasn't been a problem for years. And I guess that's what you were getting at, right? That it's not going to be a broad-based, oh my God, prices are going up 9% year over year, which they were a couple of years ago.
Exactly. So you're talking about housing or in general?
Anything.
Right. So if Scott was here, he hates but loves saying you were right. These tariffs are not going to raise prices across the board. And as more data comes out, we talked about this a couple months ago as well. That's the case, and people are sort of living by that now. And we talked about, the reasons for it, whether they aren't hit yet, they absorb the costs. But if people only have a certain amount to spend, that's all I can spend. And a lot of it may be discretionary spending that may get cut down to spend on necessities that cost a little bit more as well.
Well, that's always the thing. The price of one thing goes up, you buy a cheaper item that does the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's something, and I don't think enough of this is said. So we have, two types of things we buy, goods and services. Mm-hmm. The majority of the increases were in services. Because again, it's housing that's driving everything. So, and another thing that was interesting, I used one example on the blog. There was a big increase in household furnishing prices, jumped 0.7%. And we were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
The thing that we always think about when we think about stuff we import is clothing.
Yeah.
And apparel price is up just 0.1%. Now, you went on a shopping binge, you said.
I wouldn't say a shopping binge, but I did purchase a few goods. This is true.
A few goods. Okay, we'll go over what a few goods is maybe later in the show.
Yeah.
Are you paying much attention? Well, I'm sure everybody looks at the price because everybody's got a budget. Do you notice like, wow, maybe certain types of clothes or fabrics are more expensive, or is that? And look, it's still a little early to notice it to the point where you go, well, maybe I shouldn't buy that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I notice it then. I think a lot of people my age too associate it with the brand. I think they'll just always be like, oh, well, this brand's expensive or they're raising prices or whatever, but they won't make those sort of direct correlations, like it being the, producer index and it coming from the cost of materials increasing. So I wouldn't say that. I was actually just in California too when I made these purchases. So, California is just equally as expensive as New York. It's basically, if you're going to LA, New York, it's, virtually the same thing, same cost. But I wouldn't say I'm spending too much attention to it when I'm shopping.
Okay.
I think that's what she said. Sorry, it was really smart. When somebody goes into a store and says, this shirt is expensive, they say this company is raising its prices. Why are they so expensive? Rather than trying to source through the
chain, where did it get raised?
Why
Exactly.
is it?
Right, I make a cup. Walmart wants to sell it. We got to talk.
Yeah.
Then they got to decide what to do from that point on. And the reason we look at producer prices, because producer costs go up, they tend to tack that onto the consumer, right? Just like your landlord, if electricity goes up or property taxes go up, is going to pass a percentage of that on to you.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad to pay that? No, nobody's
of course
glad
not.
to pay that. But that's the way it goes. So we look at that, and the consumer price index data is like, okay, that's good. That's good news. Fed rate cuts, here we come. And then PPI comes out, and it was much higher than expected. But it's 1 month, so we just kind of let it go. Who cares? Just, because PPI had been showing very little increase over the last year, and this just came out of nowhere. But we'll see what happened. The stock market shrugged the PPI off and had an up week, all three indexes, and everybody was feeling good, right, Shar?
Yeah, we talked about this. People don't look at the details, right? If the market's doing well, their portfolio is going up, their retirement account is going up, that means the economy is doing well. They're not grinding out these reports the way that you are.
Man, I spent so much time doing these things.
And then writing blogs about it as well. And
no, and look, I think that's certainly part of it. And we all have our own opinions about things, and we don't want to worry about everything all the time. Yeah. And this is, it's what people call rear view data. This is last month. Who cares? That was last month.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So the stock market, I always say, it's the biggest mood indicator we have.
Absolutely. I also feel like crypto also is a little bit of an indicator on that, because I feel like a lot of people look at that, all right, I have a little extra money, let me invest and see where that goes. Whereas if things are tight, you're not really looking at that. So as far as the market doing well and having that extra spending, then all of a sudden you can afford that extra,
and maybe a gift for your boss. I'm just saying.
Hint.
Yeah, you can buy that expensive T-shirt for him that you were into.
Exactly.
Nicer mug, whatever we can get. More bobbleheads.
You're hung up on these mugs, really.
Maybe new guitar.
It's hitting it.
I haven't bought a new guitar in a while.
That's true.
But yeah, I think that these are terms that Gen Z and millennials don't really think about.
Yeah.
It's like inflation. Okay, I heard about it. I don't like when prices go up. Or wait, my clothing that I buy online is going to be more expensive now.
Yeah.
But there is that rush to cheaper goods, right? It started with, when I was a kid, you bought from local stores, local stationery stores. There wasn't a Staples everywhere. Then big box came in.
Yeah.
Then online came in.
Amazon took over.
Yeah, and you're like, what's a store? People used to go in a place and,
No, it's just the convenience aspect. That's
I know.
the thing. But it becomes convenient for people, older as well. I think arguably when you get older, you look for more convenience in those ways. You don't want to be like, oh, I have to go out and go to the store. I have to do this. younger people, we really have no excuse. Like that's just laziness at the end
Well,
of the day.
even comparative shopping, right? You used to have to go to like 3 stores in a mall or in an area and say, "What are you charging
Yeah.
this? Here's the ad from this one. You're going to match that price." I don't have to mess around with any of that anymore. I can just go to websites, compare
you
very
show it to them
quickly.
right there.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is when you buy guitars, I don't know if this is true for anything else online. It's better to call. You actually get a salesperson, and then you can get discounts that you don't get online. It's always weird. They always say call for the best deals.
Oh, really?
Where pretty much everything else is like, if you call, like if you try to book your flight over the phone,
charge you
you're
extra.
paying extra.
Yeah.
What is
That's
that music store on Long Island? Sam Ash?
Not anymore. It's gone.
Ugh, I used to grow up going there.
Yeah, Sam Ash is gone.
Yeah, we used to go.
You know, you have these online stores like Musicians Friends, Sweetwater. They're all affiliated. Musicians Friends is owned by the same company as Guitar Center. So, you know, again, you get too much competition's getting pushed out because they can't match the other prices.
But when you shop online, all of a sudden you can start searching for promotional codes and start getting discounts for things that you had no idea.
Yeah,
where you
retail
would
me
be able
not's
to
a good
get.
thing,
You
isn't
can
it?
even like ask ChatGPT. Like you can send them items and be like, "Am I getting the best deal
really?
on this item? Like that's available on the internet right now or in store?" And it will just like send you back like everything about the item. People have been asking me like, "I got a quote to get my bike fixed, right? And this was the quote, or I'm purchasing a used bike and I see it on eBay, and it's for this price. Is this good?" And it'll like spit back everything about you. It's really crazy.
There's also a website that tracks prices of products on Amazon. So when Amazon shows that it's marked down, you go onto the website and it can give you the average cost, the high and the low, so that you can see where it is. And not to say anything poorly about this wonderful company, but when Prime Day comes up and you see those big splashes of 40-50%, you don't know that those prices were bumped up slightly right before Prime Day, so that the savings is not as
See, and
big.
us old people would
That's
say that's how they
interesting.
get you.
That's how they get you. Oh gosh, I have heard that.
Yeah,
Quite a
that's
bit.
That's how they get you,
I
Sonny.
know. It's like
And now I'm old enough to do that. So. All right, one more thing tied into all this. What does this mean for rate cuts, right? Because the labor market data, we had about 100,000 jobs created in May, June, and July. Terrible. So slow down there. Inflation, it's not at 2%, but again, they're using a dynamic approach, which means we don't have to do what we said we were going to do. But if we get close enough, we'll get participation trophies and we'll cut rates.
So I feel like everybody's just waiting for this next meeting. for
Well,
these rates to
markets
get-
have it at
to
about
get-
an 80%
Right.
now.
And
At
had
the
they-
end of last week, it was 5%, but now it's like 80% of a 25 basis point cut.
and had they met 2 weeks later than they did last time,
Or if they'd had reliable data in the first
Well,
go
that's
around,
why it would have been more
right. If they
reliable.
had jobs
Exactly.
data, that is a problem. And there's been way too many articles about the BLS again.
all over.
My former employer, when I was like this big, but even then they would always say the books are cooked. You're only doing it to make the economy look bad or worse for a political reason.
Right.
Are you incompetent? Is your sample size what
But what's
Stick to the science here. Let's look at how we're sampling data. Let's look at the seasonal adjustments we're making. And, everything in the government takes a million times longer than the private sector.
So just to be the lawyer in the room, when you read those articles, the slant that they put on it, it's so obvious based on the way they present the information, right? The administration fires the chief, blaming her on the inaccuracies, and then the other articles saying, the numbers are set before it even gets to her desk. There's no way for her to manipulate the numbers. So again,
Whatever happened to the buck stops here? I mean, if
Exactly.
a division is doing bad at a company, sorry, you're going.
That's exactly right. But the point was that you can take the same set of facts and present it to your reader in a way that makes this person look unreasonable, or present it in a different way and make them look
Well, you got to make
unreasonable.
it's got to sound
Yeah.
interesting,
Yeah,
right?
but it's important when you're reading articles to know they're trying to manipulate your mind by the way they're reading, and,
And
should
keep you
really
reading.
Try and read both
They're
sides.
being-
Both sides.
Keep
so
it
you
real.
can
Like
make
Morgan's generation, you lose them by the third bullet point. No, I mean, you're used to a
straight
Twitter
up.
world.
I'm
I mean,
I
that's-
tell you, it's like TikTok. It's
Yeah.
5-second videos because that's our attention span.
See,
these
wouldn't
days.
it be
Well, not
better
me,
if this
but
was
that's
5-second videos, Ray? He's like, yeah, I wouldn't have to pretend to be interested.
way-
A-class for that.
The way those are written are actually brilliant. And on legal documents, when you have like large offering plans, they put some information in bold and large letters so that when your eyes get to the page, it navigates straight to the large fonts. So what they did, which is brilliant, is they put the most important information that they want to slide by you right before and right after those large fonts, because
Your eyes gloss right over it?
gloss right over it.
That's like when they put the
Interesting.
corrections on like page 37 of the next page.
Exactly, which Scott was very upset about
Well,
a couple weeks ago.
So anyway, where we stand on all this. So the Fed is meeting next month. Everybody's betting on a rate cut.
Do you think they'll cut rates?
I think they will. I think they'll feel. I mean, problem is some of this is political. Obviously, the chairman of the Fed and the administration are not on the same page. But more and more, for the first time in 30 years, you had 3 governors vote against the chairman of the Fed. That hadn't, that tells you that this is sort of unique.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be more pressure because some of those governors want to be the next chairman of the Fed or chairwoman of the Fed. And so they may want to make the current administration happy so they get the appointment. So there's a lot going on here that could influence us. And it should really all be based on
the numbers.
On numbers, but also look, there's a couple things to remember about this. A rate cut isn't going to make the economy better overnight. It's not going to increase hiring. It's certainly not going to lower mortgage rates because there's no correlation between these overnight rates the Fed cuts and what happens to 30-year rates. I think that's something that gets lost in all this. We had a full percent of cuts last year. Did your credit card rate go down? Probably not. Not noticeably, maybe by 0.5%. Auto loans didn't go down. That's right. So the relief that people think it's going to give them, not necessarily going to happen. Any relief would be good since we have $1.2 trillion in credit card debt in this country. That would be good to have it at lower rates. But we have to keep perspective. And there's a 6 month to a year lag time. Because you just don't snap a finger, rates go down, and boom, we're off. Yeah. Doesn't work that way.
And I had that conversation with people at dinner this past weekend when someone said, I'm going to wait until October to start looking for a home. I'm going to be able to afford much. I said, that's not the way it works.
That's not the way it works.
Not the way it works. You're in for a rude awakening.
And what we've said before is inventory has gone up. It's still kind of in that neutralist range. But if, let's say, rates come down and everybody runs out to buy, guess what? Supply's going down and prices are going up.
Prices are going up.
And the one thing you can't change about your purchase is what the price was. You can change the rate eventually.
So the famous line is you marry
date the rate, marry the house. Yeah.
There you go.
So all this murky data, the final word on this on prices will come out when the PCE, personal consumption expenditures price index, the core price index, comes out at the end of this month. That's the final word on inflation because it takes into account changes in spending too. Price of something can go up 1,000,000%. If nobody's buying it, it don't matter.
Yeah.
So that is an important thing. It also is the final word on something we're going to talk about when we get back from this break.
Ultimate Diamond is New York City's most established family-owned jeweler. With over 65 years of experience, Ultimate is renowned for its exceptional, custom-crafted diamond jewelry, its bespoke engagement ring designs, and its ability to source rare, distinguished timepieces. Ultimate has built a legacy of timeless craftsmanship and discretion, making it a trusted name among those who value refined luxury. Learn more at ultimatediamond.com.
Hi, I'm Evan Greenberg with Langdon Title. I specialize in title insurance across New York, helping real estate attorneys, agents, and brokers close with confidence. I solve problems fast and keep your deals moving. Contact me anytime.
This beautiful set here at Studio 1873 is brought to you by the Everset. The Everset provides full-service staging and furniture rental solutions in the New York area. For more information, please visit us at staging.theeverset.com or email us at staging@theeverset.com to request a free proposal.
And we're back. No more breaks, I promise. All right, so we're going to call this like the lightning round because we want to get through a bunch of topics really fast.
Okay, speed round.
We
Let's go.
can't afford like a
we need a
separate
buzzer or
countdown
something
clock,
on
so
the table.
I'm just going to randomly determine
Exactly.
when we've gone too much and then just stop it there. All right, so retail sales, very important. Consumer spending is 70% of GDP. We always talk about the first half GDP numbers, ignore them because they were all tariff influenced. So up 0.5% in July, a little below expectations, but a solid number. And remember, they're not adjusted for inflation, but they went up more than twice the level. Inflation was up 0.2%, spending up 0.5. So people out there buying, it's good. One of the reasons the increase wasn't higher is June's data was revised up big. So that's good. So we have almost a 1% gain in June, 0.5% in July. People spending, good news. Year-over-year retail sales up almost 4%, significantly higher than prices, which are up 2.7%. So that's great, right? That with all these talk about prices going up and inflation is still there, this is good news, right, Shar? You're happy?
People are still spending money. As a real estate attorney, I wish they would be spending more money on houses instead of clothes and things like that. But yeah, I think generally you have people out in the stores. You know, the economy moves a little bit faster like that, and
we know Morgan's spending because we have the receipts to prove it.
I'm not spending too much. You're making me seem like a shopaholic.
You were the one who just volunteered that information to me earlier. That I spend that
privately. She volunteered it privately.
No, she's like, we were just talking about, doing our show prep.
Because he called my blouse a sweater, and I said, "This is a blouse."
Where men don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're usually wearing sweaters. It's all that time in California. You get cold here in New York.
In the office.
I know it's cold. All right.
Anyway, yes, I am spending.
So that is good. We keep doing that.
Yes.
Maybe buy a house eventually just to keep him in business. Not because you want one.
Just also to put the lawyer hat on, this might be him trying to say he's paying too much money. So don't say you have so much extra money to spend.
That's so true.
Right? Thank you.
Right. Okay, moving on.
I need to play
this isn't lightning fast enough.
By the way, the latest Atlanta Fed GDP now forecast for the third quarter is 2.5%. That'd be good. All right, so this is personal to me, so I'll let you two chime in. The administration is calling for Goldman Sachs to fire their chief economist. Is that a fair thing to do, Shar?
It depends who they're going to replace him with. Do you have any volunteers?
I may know an economist.
Do you know guys who might be willing to take the job?
It'd be nice to get the attention of the administration sometimes. To have that kind of reach would make me feel powerful. I mean, we love everybody that listens and watches the podcast. So we're building that grassroots campaign.
Why don't you tell us one thing you would do
if I was
That's a great question.
to improve things?
Yeah.
If I was working for Goldman Sachs,
yes.
or I was,
yes.
I think I could do more good if I was the chairman of the Fed or the Treasury Secretary.
You're already lobbying for your second job out of here?
If
right.
I can dream.
Go ahead. What would be your first plan of action?
Economists make predictions. This economist made a prediction the administration did not like, and then
only weathermen can get fired for being wrong.
Right, and that's the thing. I think that, you can approach things when it hasn't happened yet, just like we can all argue if it's going to rain tomorrow or not. We won't know till tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So with the tariffs, a lot of people came out right away and said it's going to cause inflation. Yeah. That consumers were going to pay the brunt of the increase. Mm-hmm. Can't prove that until you have the data. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. Right. But it's not a good look to do that and then to hurl insults. And,
the manner in which he did it is what you have.
And look,
some opinions on.
We economists get a lot of love. I got to say, the agents and
they're pretty nice guys, right?
They're nice people. The men and women that are brokers here at Brown Harris Stevens are great to me. They are very. Yes. They're very appreciative of what I do. I'm always a little bit humbled by that. So you want to feel like you're helping your company, because if you're just running your mouth, I always tell my staff, if we're not helping the brokers make money, we're not going to be here. So, all right, that's it. Well, ring the bell on that one.
If you did leave here to go be the Fed chairman, I feel like there would be a line of people playing trumpets outside, sending you off to this wonderful job.
They would love it because the post-meeting interviews would be phenomenal. The press conference would be great.
Like sports.
It'd be, I'd be like Allen Iverson up there.
You'd be treating it just like
you're talking about job reports?
Yeah. Jobs. If you've never seen, just Google Allen Iverson practice.
We're lowering the rates and you're talking about jobs.
That's so last month. I'd be like, all right. Happy birthday, Social Security. Social Security just turned 90.
90 years old.
Now, does Gen Z, Morgan, even think about Social Security?
No, I cannot say
That's
that
something
I do.
grandma gets, right? That's not
I
something.
think, yes, I definitely would say, speaking for my generation, I can't say Social Security is the first thing on our minds or something that we're concerned about yet. I think this is interesting, to hear that, it's hitting its 90th anniversary and that it's definitely hitting some waves and shortcomings and is changing. That will directly affect us for sure at some point, but I can't say it's something that we're concerned about right now.
And this is the concern, to think about it, FDR signed this, right, at a time where people necessarily didn't need Social Security because they didn't live that long. It's just a fact of life. Mm-hmm. Or, multi-generations lived together and it became more necessary. And then the age has been raised, and that makes sense because we're living longer. Mm-hmm. But the problem was, after World War II, we had a baby boom. Everybody's having babies. Mm-hmm. They joined the workforce, and we had a surplus because we had more people paying into it than collecting it. Now we're kind of the opposite. My parents had 4 kids. I have 1. It's people are having fewer children. That's fewer people entering the workforce, fewer people paying into it. And in 2033, the latest forecast says, right before it turns 100, Social Security may only be able to pay 77% of its benefits. Now, my generation, Gen X, has kind of been told by our parents that don't expect it all to be there.
You've been warned about this.
And I think that's why every generation afterwards gets less concerned about it. They think they're all going to make money on TikTok.
I definitely think the way my generation is making money now is unlike anything like ever before. Like the way people are making more money in months and, some people in the previous generations have made throughout their entire lives, I think is also, speaks to why like my generation is not thinking about things like this or maybe paying as much attention to it as the previous generations did.
So if you used to be old enough to get an actual pay stub every 2 weeks, mm-hmm. and you would see that Social Security line item on your paycheck be deducted, you would think about it a lot more.
Really?
Yeah,
because
it's your money. We take your money. We don't. The government takes your money.
Nobody looks at their pay stubs anymore to know what's being taken out. But if you want to think about this more often, not that you have enough to worry about, but look at your pay stubs
that
and
is
where
actually
money,
a great point.
That's a great
now that
point.
we don't get an envelope anymore.
Because everyone
you used to get an
cares
envelope
about
with your
their
check.
Yeah.
Then if you give an envelope with your stub, now you don't even get that anymore.
You don't even get that anymore.
So
it would list like everything on it.
So you've never looked at it.
Yeah. This is how
you don't notice the cut I take out of your pay too, as your boss.
Maybe I should take a look.
Yeah, no. Trust me, nothing to see.
Bobblehead deductions.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Anyway,
where's the budget for all of these?
83% of Americans think Social Security reform should be a top priority because 100% of Americans probably want to make sure they collect some of it. And there's a lot of different ways you could do that. We could spend a whole show on it. So there's a lot of proposals out there. One of the problems is the surplus that they had basically gets invested in treasuries, which just gets spent anyway and doesn't give a good return over the long term. There's always been talk about individual accounts. It's my money. Why shouldn't I get to invest it the way I wish?
Because the pyramid scheme falls apart.
Well, also, let's say I get 20% return and you buy whatever and it crashes. You're like, now I have no retirement. What am I supposed to do? I think also with the higher ages and with inflation, it's funny because the adjustments were pretty big the last couple of years and now they've gone back to more normal. Right. So there's that uneven and unpredictability of how much. My mother always goes, I didn't get my raise in my Social Security. I go, it's not a raise. It's a cost of living adjustment. Okay, ding, hit the bell. Mortgage rates are down. Lowest level of this year, lowest level since October, sitting just under 6.6. Now,
makes no difference so far. But go ahead.
Yeah, those contracts aren't flying by.
Yeah, I mean, unless I come out of the podcast and I have 40 missed calls because rates came out during the show. Again, these numbers are.
Maybe that's why Nadler's not here. He's making a bunch of loans.
It could be.
Oh my gosh, he's boycotting today.
Yeah, so these numbers, so they're not low enough to bring new buyers into the market. They're not really low enough to have, previous owners refi unless you bought at a high price.
Refinancings went up big in the last survey. So
the only people who are refinancing are large loan amounts that people took at the height of the market. Because you generally want to see, depending where you are on your closing costs, you like to see about 0.75 to 1 point savings. So we're approaching that. We're approaching that.
But isn't
that
there a
spread.
third option here? Maybe this is your generation doing this.
Okay.
Hey, it's fallen the last couple of weeks. It just hit the lowest level for the year. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until it goes. Does your generation, do you have friends that are home shopping or bought homes that did this, that got greedy with the rate and maybe got burned?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that, I don't know, it's almost like the concept of like everyone always thinks the grass is greener, right? It's like, oh, it dropped, maybe it'll drop more. And then like, if I wait a month and like, I'll get a better rate than I would have waited last month. But that's not like how the world works. And I think as we've seen, like it fluctuates and, you know, you have to time when it comes to buying a house, at least I think the best timing is whatever makes sense for you and your situation and your needs and your wants, because the market's going to change every single day.
When you need it
You know?
and you can afford it. We've said it before. That's
Yeah.
what you should be buying.
No, and you won't regret it. You know, I've said it a million times on the show. I bought my home in 2006. Couldn't have picked the worst time to buy it from a price standpoint.
Right.
But my rate's less than half of when I bought it. That is a huge savings. I love the house. I've raised my son there, who's going to Buffalo on Wednesday.
So exciting.
Yes, so I'll be enduring
Shout out
an
to Greg
8-hour car ride home with my wife crying the entire way. And now she's stuck with me and her baby boy, who's like 6'1" and can bench press the house, is being left, you know. He's dorming with his two best friends from high school. So
He's gonna be fine.
he better be.
Yeah, just give him some long johns.
The snow boots look like something NASA made that
the
my wife
weather
got.
up there.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of
Buffalo.
tunnels. Well, it gives them an incentive to stay in and study now, doesn't it?
The question is, are you
It's
going to go to a
true.
Bills game up there? One
No,
time?
hell no.
Not
Can't do
even
it.
when the Jets are there.
No, I don't want to watch the Jets get trounced and then get beat up by a bunch of Bills fans.
Josh,
That's like
this
the
is
double bad.
Imagine you
my
break. I mean,
gosh.
Scott's not here, but imagine you breaking a table outside in the tailgate.
No, I could see that happening, but no, I don't. I went to Jet games for 25 years. I
You're
don't
done
miss
with that
it.
torture.
They're a pathetic organization with a terrible owner that has had one what you call franchise quarterback in its entire history. So
We really
yes,
triggered you.
You have to be.
I'm like, don't get
You have to have made a deal with the devil to win a Super Bowl and then not even come close to getting it again and being pathetic. It's bad. I know there's a new regime there. You know, you can talk tough all you want.
Jets.
And Jets always stands for just end the season because that's what you want very early on.
Trigger warning for any Jets fans.
No, any Jet fans
know.
watching now are going, he's right about that, man. It's terrible.
It's very similar to being a Mets fan. They once asked a Mets fan outside the stadium, "What's the best part about being a Met fan?" And he said, "It's really the character building, the way they just beat you up, and you just got to keep fighting."
It's like a Rocky movie, only you never win the heavyweight title.
Exactly.
Like you just keep losing to Apollo. Well, all right. So two more interesting things that came across my screen. I can't say my desk, but so Bankrate did an analysis of the states where home equity has grown the most since 2020. Now you already know the answer, so I'll give all the visitors, viewers, and listeners a chance to think about it. Okay, West Virginia. Home equity is up 450%, the average home equity since 2020, followed by Oklahoma.
What was going on in 2019? That
Yeah.
I don't
prices
know.
were so low.
You know, I think there's a resurgence. I know when I gig, one of the famous favorite
gig?
songs.
Is that a word?
When I gig,
To gig.
one of the favorite
A verb.
songs we play is "Take Me Home, Country Roads,"
Great song.
which is all about West Virginia. Mountain Mama, Take Me Home.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like a resurgence of that song has caused the home equity to go.
Imagine they're playing that at open houses. Is that what's driving? The
You know
prices
what?
up?
Right?
It makes you want to live in West Virginia. It sounds like a great place.
It
You know what
does,
was playing
actually.
over the speaker? My parents like found their home, and we've moved like 7 times growing up. At Last by Etta James, and they were like, "I think this is the one."
Yeah, like casinos play
So it
certain music
matters.
to
It
get you to
depends.
gamble more.
Start playing music at your open house.
All right, so the top 5 is West Virginia, Oklahoma, Connecticut, Kansas, Illinois. Now,
How many of those states have you been to? Those 5.
1.
Okay.
I've been to 1. I've been to Connecticut. How many have you been to?
Also, just gonna. I wasn't judging. I'm just asking. You're defensive about your cups.
I've been
your,
to
travel.
some random states before, but no. How many of those states have you been to?
Read them again one more time.
Yeah,
West Virginia, Oklahoma, Connecticut, Kansas, Illinois. Oh wait, I've been to Chicago.
I was
too.
gonna say
There you go.
Chicago. I was
That's
like,
right.
wait.
Yeah, I've been
2.
to Chicago.
2 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know why they call
Insane.
Chicago the Windy City?
Because it's windy.
No, has nothing to do with the weather. Political, going left and right all the time. That's
Wow.
what it is.
So they can't make up their
It's
mind.
nothing to do with the weather. Yeah.
Well, it seems like they've made up their mind the last several elections over there. So maybe it's not so windy anymore. All right. So we go from home equity to the 10 most affordable housing markets in the world.
In the world, how many are in?
The
I
U.S.
mean, New York's got to be number one, right?
affordable, sure. We're just giving them away here.
Most affordable.
9 of them in the U.S. There was a tie, so that there are a couple of foreign, but
What was
again,
the one outside of the U.S.?
well, no, there's more than one because again, there was a tie. A couple of them were
okay.
tied. Middlesbrough and Durham, England. Sorry, sorry, British. Didn't want to offend you.
Beautiful there this time.
Edmonton.
All right.
You know, they can't win a Stanley Cup, but it's affordable. And
that's
Sheffield,
why.
England. But it's interesting. I'll give you all a second to try to guess what number 1 is. Okay. Pittsburgh.
Oh.
You know, it's had a rejuvenation of its downtown area.
Yeah.
They have 2 beautiful stadiums. It's great when a stadium's in
They've
a
won a
downtown
Stanley
area.
Cup, right?
They won a couple. Yeah,
Penguins.
they've had 2 of the top 10 players in the history of the NHL on their team. So that's worked out well for them.
That'll
Can I
help.
say
Baseball,
something?
not so much lately.
Can I say something? If any of the listeners on any platform live in any of those cities that we just mentioned,
Yeah.
if you drop a comment on the video, Greg is going to send you a mug. What do you say? And maybe a Lone Daddy hat?
And Shar is going
I
to pay
love
for it
that
all.
idea.
I'll pay for the shipping. I'll pay for the shipping. I would
So-
love
Oh
to
my
see a
gosh.
comment. Let's go. Sheffield.
Anyhow, Pittsburgh number 1, Cleveland number 2. I heard they rock. You know, there's a song called Cleveland Rocks. It's where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is also. St. Louis, where the Yankees just swept the Cardinals this
There you
weekend.
go.
And Rochester. So it's just interesting to see these things. Some of these
Yeah.
cities like Detroit's on this list, which might make sense because Detroit's not doing terrific right now.
Detroit Rock City.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yes.
not going to reference that?
It's
after
not a bad
everything?
song. I'm not a big Kiss fan.
Okay.
You
Ray's
like
getting
Kiss.
excited.
Oh
What?
no, you were showing me the other people the other day.
The other people the other
I
day.
love how
okay.
you started the sentence and you're like, oh no, what did I get myself into?
It was
Wait a
not Kiss, man.
Not Kiss. Oh,
Look,
Metallica.
Oh, Metallica.
Oh,
Metallica is an all-time great band.
top streamed, I think, something like that.
Yeah, my son.
Yeah.
You
and
know.
then I was like, no way, Taylor Swift probably has some. And Greg was like, no.
No, I didn't say that.
Wrong podcast.
Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift.
Wrong podcast.
So true.
Where my generation, it was the Billboard charts, or how many platinum records
I
you
think
had.
they still release
Now nobody buys records or anything like that, so it's about streams.
streams. Yeah.
So it's Spotify.
Yep.
It's like no, they get 1 trillion streams on Spotify. It's like that was
Crazy.
the-
Taylor
that
Swift
one-
actually has an insane amount of streams.
well,
She does.
has-
I mean, she also re-recorded like all of her songs because she didn't own the rights to them,
That's
but
right.
now she owns the rights to them.
a
So.
lot of it. John Fogerty's doing this now.
You can
Only
listen to
Fogerty
any-
just turned 80, so it's a little.
Oh wow.
But he's still a legend. Love him. But
Legend.
you know, it's so many things about music changed in my lifetime. I'm not surprised that now in my son's lifetime, you know, what's a CD? Like, come on, they don't even know. They know
I grew
more
up
about
on
vinyl
Did I
than
grow up
CDs.
on CDs? No, I did, but I was like the iPod. What happened to that one U2 album that was downloaded on everyone's
I
iPhone?
think
Does
they
anyone remember that?
invested in Apple very early on.
like,
They
why
had a
did that
deal.
happen?
Actually,
They had a
Bono
deal.
bought Steve Jobs' apartment
Oh, really?
in Manhattan. Yeah, so
Oh my gosh, that was
they were buds. But yeah, and I still have that on my phone. I
Negotiation of
think
the same.
I've never listened
the
to
way
it.
she feigned interest in her boss's fun fact. That was amazing. I gotta give it to you.
appreciate it.
We got to get Shar's staff on here to find out what's going on over there. Okay, I mean the hair jokes alone must take up the morning, and we'll see where it goes in the afternoon over there. Ray, don't pass out. We don't have insurance, special insurance or personal. Anyhow, all right, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, we're running too long as it is.
Just got started.
fun.
No, we didn't just we got started like 40 something minutes ago.
So am I
Time
bumped up to
flies.
the second stooge today, or am I still?
Yes, well, we're not
I don't
going to
even
call
consider her
Morgan
a
a stooge.
She's
no.
wonderful.
Oh,
No.
thank you.
She's the boss of us, pretty much. I guess we'll go
Oh,
for that. We're just a bunch of
please.
stooges. What do we know?
Please. No, I just, whenever you need me, I'm more than happy.
There
Well,
you go.
you
It
know-
was
Come on
on
and chat.
very short notice.
Well, I thought I,
I
was going
actually
to have
asked for
to.
shorter notice.
I pictured you doing this
she
by
didn't want
yourself.
to worry about that, or we could have
the
Lisa
first
again.
time,
But
what did I have, 20 minutes?
we have
Before?
about 15, 20 minutes. We dragged you in here, and sometimes
Greg's
it's better
very
not
like
to think about
push
it.
in the pool, swim.
No,
but I
you.
like
I
that.
said you want to go on the podcast, and you're like, yes.
Because I couldn't say no to you. I was
Could
like,
have. I told you there'd be no repercussions. What kind of boss you think I am?
oh my gosh.
You know? Just ask me. I'm a terrific boss.
I know you are.
You know
I
the
see
old
that all the
expression,
time, every day.
Greg is a great boss. You couldn't
then I
ask for a
blinked
better
twice. I'm like-
boss because if you did, he'd fire you. You know, it's one of those old jokes.
Yeah,
So
that's funny.
anyhow, all right, that's it.
Amazing.
Thanks
Great
to
job.
Shar.
Thank you.
Thanks to Morgan. Thanks to
Thank you
Lena and
very
Ray.
much.
Thanks to myself, since no one ever thanks me.
Always. Thank you,
And but
Greg.
most importantly, thank you to our listeners and viewers. And we look forward to crossing the line with you again next week. Have a great week.